I wanna have the patience in my soul, 'cause I know that it's worth it.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Princeton Clark here, back for another video here in the Mastery series on this YouTube channel. Also, if you're listening to this in podcast land on the Evolve Mastery podcast, you can also take this video on the go if you don't have the YouTube streaming option where you can listen to it on the go directly from YouTube. I really wanted to start this Mastery series because I realize that a lot of people in the season that we're in the world, a lot of you are struggling. A lot of you feel like there's so much that you want to do. There's this calling, there's this soul urge that you feel, that you know that you're here to do something more. You know that there's something greater that's supposed to be flowing in your life. You know that you have the power to manifest something, but it's just not showing up. You feel confused, you feel frustrated, you feel angry at times. Relationships are suffering. Your job situation isn't panning out. You've outgrown the circles that you're in. And in many cases, you feel so alone in your journey. And you are probably in a place that I used to be in where you say, I wish someone would just come and tell me the truth. Tell me what to do so that I can be the most powerful version of myself, so that I can get the results. I'm tired of being where I am. And guys, I understand that feeling because that's where I was. When I decided to take this journey, if you guys haven't followed me, or maybe you're just coming across my videos for the first time, you know, I've been speaking and teaching for over 2 decades. I've worked with a lot of amazing people within the coaching industry. I worked for Tony Robbins as a mastery coach and Dean Graziosi for a while as well. And I'm also a best-selling author of my book, Awakening Your Inner Master, The Journey of Self-Mastery, sold hard copy internationally. Very proud of that. And then I also have another book, Warrior of Love, Speaker of Truth. And this book is not about me. It's about the fact that within each of us, there is a warrior, our own spirit, that is warring to love us. And it shares deep insights. This is a decade anthology, and it's one of those books that you literally can open up at any given time, or you can read it straight through. But it's one of those books that no matter where you open it up, there's going to be wisdom for some aspect of your life, and really taking you back to that place, to listening to your spirit and honoring that place within yourself. And then, of course, Awakening Your Inner Master is exactly what it is. It's the journey of self-mastery. And, you know, I'll put the link in the bio if you guys want to check out these books. But Awakening Your Inner Master shares a lot of my journey over the past 20 years. At the time that I wrote the book, it had been 15 years. But it shares a lot of the journey, the wisdom gained, how I applied that wisdom. It paints pictures to help you understand what it means to create alignment in your life in mind, body, and soul. Because conceptually, we always hear people say, get into alignment with your mind, body, and soul, but you don't really understand at certain levels of your journey what that means. And so this book is broken up into the 3 pillars: mind, body, soul. And so walks you through that, shares wisdom. And there's also a journal in the back of it with journal prompts at the top, or thoughts to meditate on, to journal about. And, you know, that's my first book that I ever wrote. And then, of course, Warrior of Love, Speaker of Truth. But if you're looking for resources, that's available to you. Also, I have the Evolve Mastery podcast, as I mentioned. But a lot of you are seeking. A lot of you are seeking. A lot of you are at a place where you're ready for change. You're ready to step into something new. And I can think back to when my journey first began, how after a series of experiences, I won't get into it now just for the sake of time, you know, I went through a lot of traumatic experiences in my life, which ultimately led me to trying to take my life. And I failed. But on the other side of that failed suicide attempt, I ended up realizing that I was given a second chance, and every breath that I would breathe from that moment was a gift. And so there was a sense of urgency for my life. There was a sense of desire and inspiration to live, because I realized that I wasn't where I was because of what had happened to me. I realized that I was where I was because of how I chose to respond to it. And see, this is why I always talk about taking ownership and your responsibility. As an adult, you're not a child anymore. Every decision you make, every thought you think, every word you speak has a consequence. That consequence can be positive or it can be negative. Everything you do is a seed into the ground of your life. And it's going to determine what level of life experience you have, what you manifest in that experience, and how powerful or how weak that experience is. But one thing that I always say is, no matter where you are in your life or in your journey, you are always powerful, because you are a powerful divine creator. You are creating something in every single moment of your life. Every decision is taking you down an infinite number of pathways that you choose through your action or even inaction, because even inaction is action. It may not lead to where you want it to go, or it may lead to a place that's going to teach you great lessons. But no matter what you do, you are always the most powerful version of yourself. No matter what you do, you will always be a powerful divine creator. And this is where taking that ownership and responsibility comes in, because once I have the level of awareness to understand that, wait a minute, I'm always powerful. And this was an epiphany that I had when I had that epiphany that, look, I'm not where I am because of what happened. I'm where I am as a conscious adult who has just had this major life-altering experience, and now having this awakening to the awareness that, wait a minute, I created this situation. I could have made an infinite number of different decisions that could have got a different result, but I played the victim. I made the excuses. I blamed family. I blamed friends. I blamed the world. I hated people. I chose a route that created a reality that resonated on the basis of what I thought. And then I created feelings around those thoughts, which created perceptions. And then through the perceptions of those feelings and those ideas, I began to conceptually manifest this illusion or delusion that created a life that was the opposite of what I truly desired at a soul level. And I had to take ownership of that. I had to take complete ownership of that. I had to let go of what I couldn't control anymore. And I had to really become intentional about what I could control. See, and this is where a lot of people are failing. At the base of why you're not getting the result, there is something that you are not showing up responsibly for. There is something that you are not taking ownership of. There is an aspect of self where you haven't developed the habits, or you haven't developed the skills, or you haven't developed the awareness to show up in a way or at a capacity that can manifest what you say you want. And until you take ownership for that and say, okay, I am where I am right now because I'm lazy. I am where I am right now because I haven't decided to be completely intentional. I am where I am right now because I lack discipline. I didn't have structure growing up, or I didn't have structure through different situations in my life. I didn't have accountability, or maybe I had it and then I rebelled against it because maybe the situation wasn't healthy. And so anything that looks like that now, I rebel against it, even though I know deep down it could help me. I just can't deal with these things because I haven't let go of experiences that I've had in the past. Guys, I've been through all of these things. That's why I can talk about it. But only through taking ownership can you start creating new experiences in your life. Only through taking ownership of your responsibility, your ability to respond, can you create something new in your life. And that's what I want to help you do. Take ownership. I'm going to challenge you. I always tell people, I am not the coach, the speaker, the mentor, or the person that comes into your life that pats you on the back for playing it small, because I know that you're powerful, whether you realize it or not. And so I'm one of those people who you can stand on the edge of the cliff, but once I come into your life, I'm kicking you off the cliff so that you can form the wings that I know you have and you can fly. But you got to trust the process. You have to be willing to let go of everything that's holding you back from that leap into the most powerful version of you. See, and this is why I say, as I said in the video yesterday, and as I say all the time, self-mastery is the toughest path that you will ever take, because it's you versus you. It's always you versus you. And what most people don't want to do is look in the mirror and take ownership for how they choose to communicate, how they choose to think, how they choose to respond and create the reality that they are currently in. They don't want to take ownership of the areas where they are not showing up for themselves, where the areas where they do not love themselves, for the areas where they keep sacrificing and martyring their skills and their talents, their awareness, for the sake of other people, for the sake of different situations that aren't in the flow of what they truly desire. But self-mastery is about surrendering to the awareness of the knowledge that you have and aligning with the frequency, focus, and form of that awareness so that you can bring into manifestation and actualization that which you're asking for. And so when I got started, man, when I started this journey, I went through it. But after having the experiences that I had hit rock bottom. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And see, for most people, they're not sick and tired of being sick and tired. You can cry about your situation. You can complain about your situation. But you know how to tell when you're sick and tired of being there? Something shifts in you and you start moving. You become relentless. You know that if you do not change right now, what will happen from this point will be terrible. And so when I hit my rock bottom, all I could do was look up. All I could do was move forward, because I knew that to go backward would totally destroy my life at a much deeper level, and not just affect my life. It would affect my legacy. It would affect my entire world, the people, my family. I could not allow myself to get back to that place where I was trying to take my life again. And, it was just the wildest experience. But on my journey, taking that ownership and looking at my life at every level, relationally, I've walked away from relationships because they weren't in alignment for me, because I understood the role that I played in co-creating those relationships, and where I settled, and also where I wasn't responsible, where I didn't make wise decisions considering what was the current reality of my life. And also in areas where I was seeking validation, I martyred myself, I martyred my skills, I martyred my vision. And so I had to learn through all these different things. I had to take full ownership. And this is why I say, I don't complain. You won't hear me cry about my situation or any situations that I've gone through, or grown through rather. You won't hear me get mad or get angry about what's not happening in my life, because I understand that what's happening or what's not happening is a result of me. I take full ownership of that. If I am attracting things or people or circumstances into my life, it's because something in me, my intention, my focus, my thoughts, my perception, what I'm aligning myself with or who I'm aligning myself with, it's off. And so I don't complain about that. I stopped complaining years ago. And so if you're in a place right now where things are challenging, things aren't flowing the way that you want them to flow, things aren't manifesting, you feel like you've been doing everything and still nothing is happening, understand that if you feel this calling on your life, that you have a big vision, that you're called into something new, it's not going to manifest overnight. It's got to marinate. It's got to take its time. That seed has to go into the darkness of the dirt. It has to break free from that shell. It has to take root, and then it begins to grow up, but it still has to grow through the darkness for a bit before it breaks through the ground into the light. And then even then it's got to grow a little bit before it starts manifesting fruit. And there's some things that it grows under the dirt. And so you don't even see the fruit until it's time to excavate it. It's time to pull it up. It's time to harvest it, rather. And see, a lot of you are like those fruits or like those trees. You're in a season of darkness right now, and you're not acknowledging the growth or the requirement of growth. Instead, you just want to be in the light right now. And it's like, you are the light. And this was one of the greatest epiphanies that I had also, was that a lot of people talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. But the truth is, you are the light in the tunnel. And until you realize that you are the light in the tunnel with the capability of expanding it so that that tunnel is no longer dark, instead of waiting for something at the end of the tunnel, you're going to be in that darkness for a really long time. And this is something I help my clients, my students out of that darkness, getting out of that place where they're hoping for something in the future, not realizing that there's something being called forth in the present. There's a version of you being called forth in the present. There's a version of you being challenged in the present, and life presenting these things, these issues, these challenges is life's way of saying, okay, I'm going to expose this now. Your light has gotten bright enough. I now need to expose this before I can move you to the next level. So let me reveal this to you. Let me present this to you. Oh, you say you're ready? All right, let me give this to you. Let's see how ready you really are. Okay, be careful what you ask for. Okay, you say you want to impact the world. Let's see if you can impact your world first. You want to help people heal. Let's see how healed you are first. You want to experience more peace in the world and bring more peace in the world. Let's see how much peace you can bring into your life first, because you're the root to this experience that you say you want to create. So be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. See, taking ownership and taking responsibility for the power that you have as a divine creator is what dictates the level in which, or the speed of which, you manifest what you're asking for. But I want you to think about that today. Look at your life really intentionally. Do some deep introspection and be honest with yourself, because before you can take responsibility for anything, you have to learn to be honest about where you are. As I said in the video yesterday, go back and watch it if you haven't. when I started looking at my life, I understood what I didn't know. I knew I didn't know how to love myself. I knew that I didn't know how to start a business. I knew what I didn't know because it wasn't manifesting. I may have had the information for, but I didn't have the knowing to apply, to embody, to create the wisdom and the actualization of it in my life. And see, a lot of you got the information, living in this information age. You got all the information. You've consumed all the information, but you haven't connected to the deep knowing and awareness that you have embodied to actually actualize that information into a manifested reality. And this is where accountability, this is where taking ownership and responsibility come into play. Growth in any area is very practical. If I apply consistent action, continue to develop in the basics, expand in the wisdom through application and embodiment, then whatever I'm applying said action to is going to get results. Some results will manifest fast, some results will manifest slow, depending on where you are at any stage in your life. But see, we can know that, but then we show up impractically. We show up inconsistently. We show up with no discipline. We show up not taking responsibility. We show up not taking ownership. And then we complain and get upset because it's not showing up. It's because you're literally living in insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, repeating patterns, expecting a different result because you're living impractically. You're doing the opposite of what's required to manifest change. Even though change is the only constant, when you are not intentional, when you are not disciplined, when you are not consistent, you are not operating in your highest power to manifest that life willfully. And so as a result, life begins to happen all around you. Change is continuously happening all around you. But because you are not intentionally disciplined, consistent, and owning your power and awareness that you are creating and playing a co-creative role in this reality that you are giving yourself to, because you're not doing the practical stuff, guess what happens? You become like a leaf blowing in the wind. You're over here, and then you're over here, and then you feel like you're up here having a high moment, and then you're down here, and you're having a low moment, and so on and so forth. But you have to hold yourself accountable. And if you struggle with disciplining yourself, taking ownership of your life, and having responsibility, you need to have a coach. It's a reason why some of the greatest influential people in the world, athletes, you name it, we talked about that yesterday for a short bit. It's a reason why they are successful, because they got around other successful people. They had successful coaches. They had powerful, influential people who held them accountable. They had people around them that challenged them. They invested in the process of becoming the best version of themselves. They put themselves through the ringer to develop the skill. They pushed themselves beyond the areas of comfort to become uncomfortable enough to develop the muscle, the know-how, and the awareness to be great at what they do. And see, nowadays we live in this society where everybody is lazy. We want all the information and we can have all the conversation, but we are not embodying it or taking ownership of what we are being called to do. And then we complain about it. And then we want everybody to understand how we feel. Do you even care how you feel? No, because if you did, understanding that thoughts create things and feelings or emotions are simply focuses that you have put your intention into, that have put energy into motion in your body. So if you really cared about how you feel yourself, you would stop focusing on the things that don't align with you. You would stop focusing on the things that don't bring value into your life. You would stop focusing on the things that don't evolve you or enhance you to be the most powerful version of yourself. So while everybody's complaining and wanting everybody to focus on how I feel and that hurt my feelings, no. You just don't know how to set your face as stone, own your power, take responsibility, take ownership, and have accountability in the power that you've been given to create the life that you have the power to create. And until you can honestly face that and own that, you're never going to change that. And this is why the insanity continues. But if you want to step into your power, if you want to create change in your life, you must become the change that you want to see in your world, because your world is responding to you. Your world is always responding to you. It's responding to your action and your inaction. How you experience the world is based on your perception, which is based on your conceptual ideas that you have created that have formed this personified idea of self that you think you are because you aren't aware of what you are. And until you're willing to go deeper than that, guys, I could go on and on, but the truth is, again, accountability, ownership, and responsibility. Are you willing to look at where you are, just like I had to, because I was living recklessly. I share my story all the time. You guys can go check out the podcast, Evolve Mastery, and also, again, get my book, Awakening Your Inner Master, The Journey of Self-Mastery. Check it out. I'll drop the link in the bio. I'll also drop the link for Warrior of Love, Speaker of Truth, because it's time for you to start listening to your spirit. It's time for you to get aware. It's time for you to start applying practical application. It's time for you to own the power of you so that you can be the change that you want to see in the world, so that the world will start responding to the power of you. You are here for so much more. And until you can understand that, nothing's going to change. Until you own that, nothing is going to change. And so I want you to think about that today. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'll respond to the comments. Or you can join my school community, which is free right now. I'll also drop that link. If you stayed here this long, your soul is seeking. So I have some free resources in my school community you can check out. Also, I have an event coming up on the 7th that's called M3, and it's all about mastering your life, manifesting what you desire. And if you have skills or abilities that you want to monetize to create something for yourself, we also talk about monetization. So mastery, manifestation, monetization. M3, it's time to take it to the next level, but it's going to be a mastermind that we're going to be doing daily over the course of 3 weeks. So it'll be 3 sessions over the course of 3 weeks. So the 7th, the following Monday, and it's broken up into 3 sessions because I want you to actually be able to consume the information, apply the information, ask questions during our times together so that we can get the results that you truly desire. So if you want more information about that, go to PrincetonClark.com. The link is in the description, but I'll have all the links down there, guys. But you are powerful. You are called for so much more. And if you've watched this video thus far, that should tell you something. It's time to make a new decision. And you know that. Are you willing to commit to the process? But guys, listen, I have more videos coming on the way in this mastery series, and we're going to be hitting more topics like this. What's really keeping people from growing? We're going to be talking about overcoming depression, how to master depression. We're going to be talking about mastering monetization. We're going to be talking about mastering building a business, entrepreneurship, mastering your power to create healthy relationships. We're going to be talking about a lot in this series. So I look forward to having more conversations with you, but understand that mastery is always about surrendering to the deeper level of you. It's always about surrendering to the power of you. Have a great one, and I can't wait to see your comments. I can't wait to connect with you and share this video if you know someone that this can inspire or someone that needs to hear it, because you help me share these messages. You help me get this out to the world. And I'm really just starting to focus on my YouTube. I've had it for a while now, and I'm committing to being disciplined to sharing more content in long form on this platform. So you help me to get it out to more people. But until next time, I love you guys. Have an amazing day, night, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you. And let's continue to rise. Let's move out of insanity and let's move into purpose.